Alright guys, so in this episode we are going to be building the reservation components. So this is what we'll be building. So I'll go back to our own local server, then I'll go to the project and I will make sure that I'm in the reservation.tsx file. First things first, I will change this to a section. I'll have a class name and give it a margin top of 10, and medium devices and up, set the margin top to 0. Inside the section, bring in a form, and we don't need an action. We'll be adding the onSubmit function or property, but for now I will just leave it out. I'll just give it a class name, and this will be bg card foreground, and the text will be the background color, rounded will be large. I give px of 6, padding top of 8, and a padding bottom of 6. So inside this form, we'll bring in a div, and this div will be this line right here, I guess. But before we do that, let's just make sure that we're passing the rooms as well. So make sure we're passing the room data to the reservation component. So then for the TS, we'll just say the interface should be reservation props. Then the room, we have the type of room, like so. So what we have to do now is to come here and destructure it to say room, and that room is coming from the reservation props, and that should get rid of the error that we are having, I guess. So if we check back now, let's see, okay, that error is gone. So now we can go back to styling this div right here, and this div is this line that you are seeing right here. So for the styling, we give it a class name of relative mb of 4, flex, give it items, center, justify between, because we are also going to push these two side by side while still having this line right here. Then we'll add the after pseudo class. So after, then we'll say add the bg of primary. After, we'll still make it absolute as well. Then we'll make the bottom to have a negative 0.5. Then the height will be let's just do 3.5 pixels. This should be inside 3.5 pixels. If this is too big, we'll reduce it later on. Then we'll also make the width 4, and the most important thing, make sure that the content is empty so that we can see our line. So it should be like so. I think we need, it should be double quotes, right? And it should be double quotes as well. Yeah. Okay, let's open this div like so. Inside this div, we'll add the h5. So give it a class name of font 500, text 300, and the text is reserve, colon. Then also have a p tag, class of text 300, font 600. I don't know if we have a price, so let me see. Room dot, okay, there's a price, and for now let's just put the dollar symbol here. We'll add an helper function later that we just generate this dollar symbol for us. So if we check back now, you can see this is coming through. So let's check again. but this is way lighter. I don't know why this font is not kicking in. So let me check the globals.css file. Do we have a font of 500? Yeah, we actually do have. Oh, should be 500. No wonder the fonts were not kicking. This should be 500. Then it's now looking much more better, and this also affects everywhere we are using that font weight. And I think some of the title now will be a bit bolder. Then for this 30,000, we need to just bring in that helper function so that we can just have the appropriate comma in the right place. So I'll go to the lib folder and just create a file called helper.ts, and I will just export a function called format price, and this will be, it's going to accept the parameter, and this will be of type number, and this also going to be an arrow function. Then we're going to return the amount or the local string, and currency we'll be using, or country, is the US. So you can use Nigeria. If you are from Nigeria, it's going to generate the Nigeria symbol. So US, then we open an object, and the style will be currency. Then the currency now will be USD. So we say USD. Then you can choose to add a minimum fraction digits, so the minimum and the maximum. So without it, let me just leave it as is so you can see how it is. Now we can come back here and wrap this inside a format price. So we say room.price. So if we save now and check back, you can see that we have 30,000 with this double 0 at the end. So if we want to get rid of it, we just need to go back here and add the minimum fraction digits to 0, and the maximum fraction digit to also set it to 0. So now it's going to get rid of the last two zeros, and this looks much more better. All right, and I think this line is too big, so, or it's too thick rather. So I will just make these 3 pixels. Okay, so let's check again. Yeah, so I'll go back to the code and make sure I'm outside of this div, and I will just paste in this right here like so, then add an MB of 6. This will be dynamic when we bring in Sanity, but it's going to just show like this for now. Okay, cool. And now for this section, so which is all the section here, you can choose to also bring in, use the form when you get there, but I just wanted to just use the form directly because everything here is still inside the form field. But either ways, you can choose to use a div here, then use a form when you want to put all these inputs right there. So just below this, I'll bring in a div, and this we have a class of space y4 to add space around vertically. Then on large devices and up, we'll add a display of grid, give it a grid colors of 2, then we give it a gap of 6. Then again, we'll get rid of the space, so space y, set it back to 0 on bigger devices and up. Then inside this div, we'll bring in another div again, and we're going to bring in the label. So this time we'll be using the label from ShardCN as well. As you can see, they've already changed how their UI already looks. So we'll go to components, and this is looking way better in my opinion. So we just search for label, So let me spell that right. So label. Then I'll just copy this command like so. Make sure you open a new terminal and I'll paste that in. So say yes, in order to install. While that is installing, we'll still need another one. So we need the popover one. So essentially the popover is just this one that pops over when you click on it. So I'll copy this as well. Alright, that has been installed. I'll clear this out and paste in the other one. Then we'll also need for the input as well. So this one, so copy it like so. Clear this out, paste this as well. And I think we need 2 more or 1 more. We also need the select. So sorry about that noise. So I'll copy it like so, clear that out, paste it right in. Then lastly, we need the calendar, the calendar component. So essentially this is what we want, and the calendar is just basically using the React day picker. So I'll just copy it like so and wait for this to finish installing. Alright, that has been installed. Now paste in this one. Then we don't want to override the button. We'll say no. Alright, everything has been installed. Alright, cool. So before we start bringing it in, so let me just go back to, and my development server just stopped for some weird reasons. So you know what, I'll just stop it again and do an npm run dev. Alright, so let's see, hopefully it runs properly. But while this is loading, so we need to be able to accept data or keep track of what the user enters. So I'm going to just quickly create a state that is going to just capture all the data right here. So we'll come back to the reception and I'll come here. This is going to be booking data. I'll say set booking data. So essentially now, and this will also be in a use state, and it's going to be an object. So you can choose to separate them, like for the check-in now, you can say check-in, set check-in, and what have you. So you can also do it like so, but you have to do for all of them: check out, the room type, the category, and the rest. But sometimes it's just good if you follow best practices rather. So we just do everything right here. So we say check-in should be undefined. Checkout also, it should be uppercase out, should be undefined. There should be a comma, not a colon. Then the room category. For the room category, we just want to pass in the room that is already being selected. At the comma here as well. Then for the number of rooms, so the number of room, this will be 1 by default. Then the adults will be 1. Then the children will be 0. And this should be plural, right? But I'll just leave it like this. You can let me know in the comments, but I just feel this is correct. But it should be number of rooms. But I'll just leave it like so. Then we also need a type safety for this, because right now, if you over on this, it's not really typed checked. So we just add a bit of type check like so. So we say, what should I call this now? Booking data. And this will just hold everything. So the check-in will be of type of date or undefined. The Checkout will also be the same thing. So let me just copy this down and change this one to checkout. The room category be of type string. The number of room will be of type number. The adults will be of type number as well. Then the children will be of type number 2. So this should be children. Alright, so we can just pass in the booking data like so. So now we'll move on, then we can see their respective primitive types. Okay, so we can come down now and let's just render some UI before going to add some more functions to do some checks and all. So here will be the label from ChatCN. So make sure it's not these ones. Make sure it's from this //UI/label. So this one, this will be check in. For the class, give it an MB of 2. Then we'll bring in the popover. So this one. And inside the popover, there's also a popover trigger, I guess. Yeah. So this one. I will set this as child because we'll be adding a button inside of it. So bring in the button. Before we add the content of the button, we'll just give this a variant of outline. So this should be outline. And for the class name, we'll be using the CN utility class from Tailwind so that we can conditionally combine class names in a more readable way. So I will just open a bracket like so, and I'll bring in a width of 4. Justify should be start. Overflow should be hidden. Text will be left. Then spell hidden very well. Then fonts will be normal. Then now we'll add a comma, so we can easily now specify variables. So we can say if it's not booking the data.checkin, then we want to just say text should be the background color. So you can see how neat this is, because initially we were using the $sign symbol, and that will just get things a bit messy. But either ways, you can choose to use this and use the $ symbol. I think if we go here, it was used either, I think it was used here. Was it used here? Yeah, something like this. But it's more readable here, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Alright, so inside this, we bring in the calendar icon. So calendar icon from Lucid React. So we just want to set the default date. So say booking data dot check-in. So if there's actually a check-in date, then we want to do something else. We also want to do something. So if there's no date at all, we just say pick a date. Then if there's a date, we can just say for now, say booking date or booking data, sorry, dot check-in. So save, and I think I'm having a little bit of prettier issues. So let's put this, let me put this inside the div for now, if that's going to work. Okay, yeah, that worked. So let's check, see what we have. So let me go to luxury, and you can see this is now a bit much better now. This should be booked now. You see pick a date. So we're going to fix how this looks in a bit, because this one looks more appealing in the eyes than this right here. So for this date, what we're going to do is to just put this inside a function. I think the function is called format. So we say format, and it's not giving me a suggestion. So I think we just have to do it manually. So we say import format from what is it called again? I think it's this one, the date function. So we're just passing the booking data. And what am I doing? So this should be outside this. No wonder I'm not getting the correct type safety. So say booking data dot check-in now. Then we'll add another argument right here. So say PPP, and essentially this PPP is a formatting token that just tells us how it's going to display the date. So it can be either the month, the dates, and the time or the localization. So let's just save this, and I think nothing should change much. Yeah. Okay, cool. So under the pop over trigger, bring in the pop over content. So this one, we'll make sure it's from this UI folder. So I'll close this out, and I'll give this a class name of width of auto, and the padding will be 0. Then inside the pop over content, we'll bring in the calendar that we imported or that we installed from ShardCN, and the calendar is self-closing, so we'll just pass in some properties to it. So the first one will be the mode, and the mode is going to be single. So you can go through the calendar and see how this is being used. But essentially, I'm just repeating what's here. So for the selected, we set it to the booking data dot check-in. Then it also requires an onSelect, but we've not added that yet. So we'll bring that in a bit. Then we'll add an initial focus. Then we'll also add another property called disabled. So we really want to disable it when the date is less than today, so that we don't want to allow them to select a day that is lesser than the current date. So to do that, we just say date, and this should be in parentheses. So we say date, and we store the today's date. So we just say new date. So get today's date, and we'll set the today or the hours to 12 a.m. midnight. So 0000. Then we want to return the date if it's only what lesser than today's date. So if we go back now and click on this, we can now see the date, but now we cannot select it because we've not brought in that function. All right, cool. So what we need to do is just to make this much better. So to start this, we just need to go to the button, and let me just go to the button here, and for the outline, we'll just make some changes like so. So I'll get rid of all this one we have here. So this should be border, and we'll have a border of inputs. We'll have a shadow of medium. Let's also add a background of none, so we don't need any background. Let's save and see if that makes it much better. Yeah, I think it's much better like this one. You can click on it and you can see it's looking much better. And I think we also had a cursor right here. So let's see. Say cursor should be pointer. Save. So let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. All right, cool. So let's also add for the checkout as well. So what we have to just do is to come back and copy this entire div like so, and just paste it right here. So you just have to change anything check in to just check out. So this should be check out now. Again, this should be check out, as well as this. It should be check out as well. So let's save and see if that's coming in. Okay, so that's coming in as well. Nice. So if we still change the system to light, the background should change and the color should toggle as well. But let's just go back to the default ones. Okay, so now we can add the rooms and the number of rooms. So I will close this one out. I'm bringing a new div. I'll give this a class of flex core and a gap of 2. Then inside it, we'll bring in the label. So label, and the label is going to be for the rooms. Underneath label, we need the select component from CN. And this select also has a select trigger as well. So say select trigger, and let me cross check if okay, yeah, it's coming from there too. So always cross check so that you don't have any issues. So select trigger, and for the class name, we're going to set the data. It should be data placeholder. I'll set the text to the background, and width should be 4. On dark mode, the background will be transparent. Then on dark mode as well, we'll add an over of BG transparent. Now save this, and inside the select tag, I'll bring in the select value. And this is self-closing, so we'll just pass in the a class name first of capitalize. Then for the placeholder, we'll just add the actual placeholder that we're passing. So we don't know what that is. We'll just say room.category. Then for the content, so we say select content, and bring in the select item. So this one right here. And the value for this will be the room.category. So this is what we'll be sending to Sanity, and what the user is going to see will still be the room.category as well. So I can save this now and check back, so you can see the room that was selected. It says luxury suite. All right, see it as well. Yeah. Then underneath this div, we'll bring in another div again. I'll give this a class name of flex color, and a gap of 2. Then inside this div, bring in the label. So this is number of rooms, and underneath this, we'll bring in the input field. So this is self-closing, and the type will be number. Then the name will be number of room. Then for the class, give it a on dark mode, we set the background to be transparent. Then we also set the hover to BG transparent as well. So transparent. Then we also add the maximum number. So as a maximum of 4 and a minimum of 1. So they can't select below 1 and they can't select above 4. And for the value, we'll add the booking data dot number of room, which is 1 by default. Then when we change later on, we can now toggle it to or save that number on the set booking data function. Then I'll copy this like so and do the same for the children as well. So this will be children, and all this will be children. So booking data dot children. So if I check back now, so we have children, and am I missing anything here? I think we're missing adults before children. So I will just copy this one, put it above like so. This should be adults. This should be adult as well. This should be adult as well. All right. So for the adults, okay, yeah, I think this is much expected. So children is 0, then the minimum should be 0. Then for the adults, we can leave it at 1. Same thing with this. So we can select. Sorry, we can't select. I just forgot that we've not brought in the change function. And finally, we need to add the pricing section. So we say bring in a div and give this a class of margin top of 8, flex items be center, justify be between. Then we'll have a price. So for now, I will just put in any price. So I'll put in the format. Sorry, it should be in curly bracket. So format price, and I'll pass in the room price like so. Then we need to add a discount price. So for the discount one, I will just put like $100 here. So just for styling purposes for now. Yeah, so let's check how it is here. So if I pick a date, so I don't think there's a discount for this room. So let me quickly get a room that has a discount. All right, so this room has a discount. I'll just copy this like so, and I will just paste it here. So we'll just leave it like this, and I will give this a font weight of 500, the text of primary. And for this format price, we'll give it a font weight of 600 and the text of 200. So if we check back now, okay, this is not spanning across, and I think we are doing it wrong. So it should be outside the div like so. So I think, is it working now? Yeah, so it's better like so. And the last thing we'll be doing is to bring in the button. So we say button, the button says book now. For the class name, give this a margin top of 8, width of 4, and of course the type will be submit. So I'll save, and if we check now, it's looking nice. Alright guys, so this episode has gone way longer than I expected. So in the next episode, we'll be completing this reservation component by making all these fully functional and working.